Hi everyone, this is Jennifer with Sweet Apiaries, and I'd like to talk to y'all about some of the different styles of queen cages that you'll commonly run across. This one right here is called a California mini cage, and the queen is on the inside of the cage and the attendants come on the outside of the cage. So if you buy a queen like this, be sure that attendant bees come along with her because they're going to help take care of her. This one right here is called a 3-hole Bitten cage, and this is the style that you'll run across commonly when you buy packages. The attendants come on the inside of the cage with the queen, and there's usually about 5 attendants that are inside there with her. And this is the candy. This would all be full of candy right here, and then you uncork the candy end and they will chew through that and then accept her. When you're using the California cage, they come with candy tubes, and you uncork that right there and then stick that candy tube in here. But I have a word of caution about candy tubes and candy in general. Really high temperatures, especially in the summertime, this can melt the candy really quickly, and even the temperature from inside the hive can make the candy really soft, and so that makes it quicker for them to chew through that candy, sometimes a day, and that's just not long enough for acceptance. Generally 3 days is a good acceptance period for queens, and anything less than that's kind of scary, and they could possibly let her out too quick and then kill her or ball her. And so those, a lot of times I like to manually release, and I'll make a video about manually releasing later, but certain situations will call for manual release anyway. Sometimes if you have a problematic hive or a hive that's been queenless for a while, it might be a good idea to just manually release. And bees do chew through corks, and so I like to put electrical tape over the cork and then release, check for acceptance, and I'll make another video about checking for acceptance, and then you release her onto the comb. So let's talk about push cages. They have push cages on the market that are plastic that you can buy, but this one, you can make this yourself out of 1/8 hardware cloth, and the concept behind this one is that she's going to be more easily accepted because she's inside here running about and just automatically laying in here. And so the theory is that they're going to like her quicker and more because she's laying, and they're like, oh, I love you, you're so great. The problem with this is, the major flaw with these style of cages is that if they really don't like her and want to get to her, they can chew underneath the wax to get to her. So there's just no stopping them sometimes if they want to get at her. And the other problem can be actually getting her in there, and she needs to be the only one that's in there, and then the attendants that came with her, those are the only ones that you want in there. So you have to make sure that you brush all the other ones out of the way before putting this cage over top. You don't want any of the workers in there with her because they could kill her in there. And then you need to make sure that you find a frame that has a little bit of nectar in it, because they're going to feed her with that. And then a little patch of cat brood, because when that cat brood emerges, then they're going to be like, oh, all hail the queen, I love you, and then help spread her pheromones around. But again, this can be problematic in itself to use. And then there's some situations that, the hive, it's just hopeless, and it's not going to accept a new queen no matter what you do. But the theory is that this might be the easiest. With any of these style of cages, you cannot segregate a queen. A queen has to have access to the rest of the hive, meaning the workers need to get to her to spread her pheromones around the hive. So you couldn't put her in a little box where nobody could get to her, because they have to be able to get to her to spread her pheromones around the hive. And a lot of times they can kill her in these cages. And if they can get to her, they can kill her. They can bite her through the cage. They can sting her through the cage. And so sometimes there's just no avoiding it. She can also die of neglect as well. Maybe not so much in the bitten cage, but all of her attendants die in the cage, and then the outside workers don't feed her, then she can die of neglect. They might not like her, and so they don't want to feed her. So they'll just ignore her in there. So these, the California mini cage and the bitten cage, those are going to be the more common styles that you run across. If you have any questions, you can send me an email at info@eversweetapiaries.com, or send me a message through Facebook at facebook.com/eversweetapiaries. Thanks for watching, and happy beekeeping.